welcome inside Okinawa Arena. Despina Barton alongside Andrew Gaze, the FIBA Hall of Famer. We've got Georgia and Venezuela about to go at it here in Group F. Georgia, everything on the line, a win, and they advance to the group of 16. Meanwhile, Venezuela looking for their first victory here in Okinawa, making their 5th appearance. They're gonna have to do it shorthanded, 2 players out with injuries.
That's right, and Venezuela have been disappointing in the tournament. We saw them in the first half against one of the favourites in Slovenia, and they looked spectacular. They came out shooting the ball exceptionally well, but since then, they've actually found the going tough, and they lost to Cape Verde in a surprise loss after being in a winning position. So they're out here a little short-handed, trying to correct some of the woes they've had in the past, and one of their players is Michael Carrera. We saw him go down in that game against Cape Verde, and he's one of their prime movers, averaging almost 8 points a game. He's going to be missed.
So Coach Duro and his Venezuelan squad will have to work with the roster available. On the other side of the court, it is Georgia, and a team that got its first victory against Cape Verde and then fell to Slovenia 2 days ago. It's win and they're in.
Absolutely, in Georgia, they are well placed. They get this win and they're going to advance into the next round, which coming into the tournament, there was some uncertainty about a team that's never been a part of the World Cup campaign, and they've shown great courage. They're a very tall team with some really good talent, and for them, Sandro Mahamukalushvili has been their standout, averaging 15.5 points a game, 7.5 rebounds. And the thing about it is he doesn't start. He plays starter minutes, but he comes off the bench. Well, he has been coming off the bench. And Georgia, similar to what we've been seeing with Australia, have had some slow starts, so they might look to make some change-ups to their starting lineup as well. And the other big name on their team is Goga Bitadze. He's NBA pedigree, and he's also had a fine tournament. So there's a lot to like about this Georgia team.
And Georgia making their first ever appearance here in the Men's World Cup, got their first victory against Cape Verde. One item that they're gonna have to address, this is a group that's averaging 18 turnovers, more than any other team in World Cup play right now.
No, they cough it up, and that's something they're going to have to correct. And I think it's sometimes the turnovers is because of the pace of play that they want to play at, and they're not all bad turnovers, there's just too many of them. So that's something they would have looked at with their offensive sets and their offensive structure to try to figure out, because if they don't, it's hard to see them going much further than the second round.
A look here at the slate of games here from Okinawa Arena. Slovenia and Cape Verde will be the nightcap. Slovenia has already sealed their way to the round of 16. Is ended up losing by 21. And before we get going here, Andrew, we're going to stand for the national anthems first with the visiting team. And now here for the host team, Georgia. Georgia fans fired up. They have a chance to go ahead and take control of their fate as Coach Ilias Zoros meets Fernando Duro there at midcourt, shaking it up, exchanging a gift and high fives from their native countries as the international game is front and center here from Okinawa Arena. Venezuela, Georgia meeting for the very first time in senior action. And a look here at the officiating crew for this evening's game. Canada, USA, and Poland represented. And Matthew Callio will be the lead official tonight, Andrew.
That's right. And for Venezuela, the other one that's alongside Michael Carrera, who's going to have a spell, is Gregory Vargas. He's had a nasty injury to his hand. He's all in plaster. So the veteran, he's not going to be a part of it, but this starting lineup, there's a lot to like about it. Soho, Gali Soho, he's been their leading scorer, and Kubion comes into the starting lineup.
Yeah, David Kubion will get his first start after putting 15 points up, 7 rebounds versus Cape Verde. But everybody's want to keep their eye there on Soho. The 23-year-old has been doing a lot of the offensive work. But this is the guy that gets the start here, 36-year-old veteran point guard for Venezuela and Coach Duro.
That's right, and in the last game, he shot the ball really well. 15 points, the 7 rebounds, averaging good numbers on the tournament. But this man on the screen is 23 years of age, very bouncy, and across the board, he's contributing, shooting the ball well from the three-point line, those 40%. That is exceptional, and the 14.5 points a game has come in real handy. He's bouncy, he's active, and he's developing into their go-to guy when things get on the get into those tight situations. He's the number that they're usually going to call.
Coach Duro and the squad have been training together since July 17th. On the other side of the court, it's Georgia. This is a group that saw a victory over Cape Verde, played Slovenia close 2 evenings ago, and they're going to stick to a similar lineup. This is the same starting 5, Andrew, we've seen throughout the entire tournament. That
surprises me a lot, and it's a nice combination that they've got out there, good size, but their 2 main guys, Sandro Mamukelashvili, who's averaging, like we mentioned earlier, he's averaging the 15 points a game. He comes in at number 5, along with Toko Shengalia, who's averaging 12.5 points a game. He's been very good. He plays in the Italian league for Bologna, averaging 12.5 points, 5.5 rebounds. Not shooting it as well as he would like overall, 39% from the field. He's a much better shooter than that in the first couple of games. And there's our man, Sandro, Seton Hall alumni. Have a look at him against Slovenia, one of the better teams in the competition. He performed really well, 21 points, and again, the percentages that he's shooting at, really good. And he's going to have another big one. Venezuela have got enough to really challenge this Georgia team.
For Coach Zoros, he likes the way that Mamukelashvili and Betaze are coming off the bench, so he's going to stick there with the consistency. He says the strengths of this team, this Georgian squad that's making their first appearance here in the World Cup, is certainly their inside game, but they've got some depth to go along the way. On the other side, just like you talked about, Venezuela going to be out without Gregory Vargas. And Georgia here, they know that they're the underdogs. They know the role they play here in Okinawa. But tonight, Andrew, tonight they have a chance to take control and make sure it is Georgia that advances on to the second round.
Well, that's right. It's you always want to be in a situation where your fate's in your own hands, and they'll go into this game the overwhelming favourites. But the big number for them is what they've got to correct, and there it is on the bottom of your screen. 18 turnovers a game. That is the most. They're burping it up more than anyone else in the competition, and they need to rectify the situation if they're going to give themselves a chance. And Venezuela, they've been letting it fly from the land of plenty. Average more three-pointers, 14 as opposed to the twos, 13 and a half.
They're a really fun team to watch, right? Opening night, we saw them hit 9 three-pointers against Slovenia.
Yeah, it's nice when they're going in, but against Cape Verde, it all dried up, and when it dried up from the three-point line, they didn't have that balance, and their plan B didn't kick in, and Cape Verde got a historic win, and that was one of the more magical moments we've seen in the tournament so far. So it's an interesting one here this evening against a team that really has not a lot to lose in Venezuela, playing for pride. They'll go into the classification round against a team that's playing for their lives if they want to continue their journey to give themselves a chance to pick up some hardware at the end of this tournament.
Andrew, what stands out to you? Because on paper, right, Georgia walks in being ranked 32nd by the FIBA World Rankings, and Venezuela 17. What have we seen unfold these last 5 days?
What we're seeing is anomalies in those world rankings, because you don't have to be a basketball savant to realize that this Georgia team is stacked with some talent. And what happens is through the qualification periods and some of the other tournaments that these teams will play, you don't always have the full complement of your players, and different zones comparing Europe to South America. It's very, very hard, but historically, Georgia, they've had their difficulties getting into the tournament. In fact, first time around. So it's there are always going to be some anomalies, but those rankings will be adjusted following this World Cup.
With advancement into the second round also solidifies a bid to an Olympic qualifying tournament. So much on the line here. Yes. Yeah. Here in Okinawa. So Georgia scrambling will earn the first possession. We'll let it fly from 3 as a first selection shot. And so Kubian running point with an injured Vargas on the bench. He fractured his hand against Cape Verde. Soho, Gratterall now going to drive, spin, using all his steps, misses. How about a putback?
Yeah, he's what I'd describe as a typical meat potatoes player. He won't give you the flashy stuff, but what he does, it's nice, it's tasty, and it's a staple. He stays within his lane most of the time, and he's a workhorse on the defensive end.
The feed there by Shengelia will land Sharamadini on the free throw line.
Yeah, Sharamadini is another one. He starts the games, but does not play starter minutes. He's only averaging the 16 minutes a game, and he's been serviceable in that time with his 6 points. And so far in the tournament, he's shooting 100% from the free throw line.
Mr. Consistency.
Picks up the 5.5 rebounds, and what he has shown us, Mr. Sharamadini, is that he's got the sky hook. He's got the old-fashioned Kareem Abdul-Jabbar type sky hook. Now there's a shot that's faded out of the game, but hopefully we see a little bit of that tonight as well.
First touch here for Churrio. Wants to give it up. Gratterall on the free throw line. He'll take it in for a floater, misses. And Andrew Nekoshvili looking down court. The feed into Toko, spinning, creating his own two-hand jam. A little high five on the glass, too.
Oh, there's a tech foul here.
The extra, high five. Another look at Shengelia's drive.
That's right, and it's nice. And the slap of the board, but he wasn't the one that got the tech foul. It was, I think it went to Nick Ashwili. And I'm not sure why, didn't see it. But that's last possession for Venezuela. Hopefully it's not indicative of how they're going to play. Needed a bit more weak side help. Shengalia on the box, this quick spin, and it was wide open in the paint.
So Kubian and Venezuela with the ball. Georgia picking up. Kubian flashing to the wing. Tipped away. Georgia ball.
With a clunky start for Georgia in this offensive set. Not a whole lot going on. And it probably got what it deserved. Shengalia thought that there was a deflection. It's originally pointing Venezuela away, but they corrected. Not sure what they were trying to do there. There was a whole lot of standing around. And eventually they just get it to Shengalia, and he almost throws it away and contributes to their turnover woes, which we've seen throughout the tournament.
So 4.7 seconds is what they had to play with here. Sinadze, nothing is there. We're fighting for the ball, and it's a shot clock violation. So another turnover. Andrew Nekashvili picking up Kubian. The defensive assignment. And this one right off the knee of Pedro Chorio.
Well, it's been a sloppy start by both these teams as they go through the feeling out process. And Georgia in that game against Slovenia, it was one of the more difficult games to play in. 54 fouls called in that one.
Shengalia will go to the free throw line.
And I think that foul situation we saw against Slovenia is indicative of the way Georgia play. Really, really physical basketball. They test the limits of the officials. And I think you feel like if you're their opponent, you've got to match that physicality, and it really made for a tough watch against Slovenia.
Shengalia with 3 points, 3 of Georgia's 5 here in the first quarter. And they did give him that foul earlier after the dunk.
Oh, did they?
They did.
Well, it must have been the slap on the board, perhaps. There's
his family.
His wife.
In attendance. Now, Shengalia went down 2 nights ago in a scary moment. And so you saw his wife come run across the gym and check in on him. He did re-enter that game, and it's good to see him back out here today, Andrew.
That's right. They reported it was a hip injury. Don't always believe what you hear, but that's what they were saying. Calamares, man, down low.
Medini, the flip over that was intended, the pass for Shengalia. They get it back, and the finish on the left this go-round. Kubian, Colmenares, the 2 drop down. Kubian from the wing shot. That one is in. Again, Venezuela, one of the hottest teams from 3 here in the tournament.
You're going to see a staple diet of that. They shoot more 3-point field goal attempts, only marginally, but more than they do from the 2-point range.
Floater's good for Andrew Nekashvili. And we're running now Soho, bringing the ball up for Venezuela. Knocked away, taken away. Sinadze feeds out to the outlet. No one stepping through, and Andrew Nekashvili has an easy one.
The 3 turnovers already in the first 4 minutes for Venezuela.
Colmenares, right to the gut.
neither team really seems highly motivated on the defensive end. A lot of penetration, a lot of easy looks so far, and have a look at that.
Nobody stepping in to contest that three-pointer by McFadden, and here's a timeout.
Well, Fernando Duro is going to be focusing on defense. Now, this is a one-pass offense. There is no one within 3 meters of McFadden. He's just playing a game of horse, and then the turnovers that allowed Shengalia grab a roll there, just fortunate, I should say, not to have committed a foul. Looked like there was a lot of contact there on Shengalia.
Let's go ahead and listen in here.
Yo me voy a sentar y te voy a pasar la seña cuando te puede tiro libre. Mirame a mí y te digo pulgar ahora. Pulgar para meter adentro de esto la pelota.
So Georgia perfect from the field so far through 4.5 minutes. Rati Adranekashvili, the point guard, getting activated in the scoring action here. Nice little floater. And then we saw him drive in moments later. Here we go, no one stepping in front.
Yeah, that's just way too easy. You know, I reckon that's what the timeout there by Duro, Coach Duro would have been focusing on. And that'd be what they need to do both in the half court and in the defensive transition. That last one by McFadden was just clearly unacceptable.
So 5-point lead for Georgia. Kubion looking for some help. Colmenares kicks it back out. Churio from his own bench. Shengalia now on the block. He's got a size advantage here. He's going to go on Soho. Spin, kicks it, corner. And 7 to shoot. Georgia's going to try and find a better looking shot. And they were fouled.
Yeah. Andro Ashwili assessed the situation. Shot clock was running down, gets down to that 6 or 7 seconds. Knows that he wants to put some heat on the rim, tries to split the screen, and able to draw the foul on Gatterol. Gatterol goes to the bench. Ruiz comes in.
So the quick 2 fouls for Gatterol. He's got 2 of Venezuela's 3 here in the first quarter. And so we see a different crew out here on the floor for Coach Duro. McFadden driving left, baseline jumper. A miss, gobbled up as the rebound by Colmenares. Zamora thinking about the shot.
He's been one of their best three-point shooters, shooting it at 50% in the first 2 games.
Colmenares a couple steps closer, that pass. One too many.
Get it off. Good defense by Georgia. Forcing extra passes, taking away the penetration.
Same starting 5 on the floor here for Georgia. Coach Elias Zoros is going to keep this unit on as Venezuela makes a couple more adjustments. Welcome to the floor, Hesler Gint. As well as Ruiz. And Ashwili, the feed intended for Sharmadini. That's going to be the 4th team foul for Venezuela.
Yeah, this Venezuelan group is really small. Ruiz is the 5-man. He's giving away significant height advantage. You can see it there, right there. Shengalia trying to be guarded down low.
Sanaze on the elbow for 2. Pushes the lead to 7.
Oh dear.
And a miscommunication here between Maturin.
And that's 5.
At the end.
Turnovers. And Shengelia, if Maturin's going to guard him, and I'd be putting him on the box. And Venezuela, I think they realised the same and decided now to have a look at a 2-3 zone, try and protect it. They've still got down low. They go to the same action.
Shengelia, the spin move, jumper is good.
It's just size. Maturin down low does not have the size. If he's going to play him, he's got to front him, try and prevent him from catching it so close to the basket.
Venezuela playing a little bit frantically here. Shengelia hits the deck. That's the 5th foul. So he'll head to the free throw line. And for Zamora, he picks up his 1st.
So you can see the size difference between Maturin and Shengelia. Shengelia's getting it going. This is one of the better starts that he's had. He's up to 8 points. He's perfect 3 of 3 from the field. And when you're getting that quality look, you know you've got that size advantage, the confidence grows. And he's going to go to the free throw line to shoot a couple more. %79% so far from the free throw line across the first 2 games. And the alarm bells need to start ringing for Venezuela. They haven't found a solution, never looked real confident getting stops on the defensive end, and offensively they've coughed it up 5 times. So not a good combination to start this one.
Shengelia with 10 points. For Georgia, they lead by 11. Yet, and Venezuela haven't scored for a while here. Corner look for Maturin, and that will end the dry spell.
He's a good shooter, good 3-point shooter. Need to close out on him.
Slipping through the fingertips of Shengelia. A turnover for Georgia, and here are the first substitutions for the game. Sharamadini steps off, and Bitaze on, the NBA star that plays or will be playing for the Orlando Magic this year. 24-year-old.
A little surprised we haven't seen Sandro Mamuke-Lashwili just as yet. Their leading scorer. He averages 29 minutes a game, and we've already played almost 8 minutes in this, 7.5 minutes in this one.
So Fontes will pair together a couple threes for Venezuela, and it's a 5-point game. Shengelia, you're going to give it to him, he's going to take it.
That's the most vulnerable part of the zone, those elbow catches. Got to try and prevent those passes into that area, particularly when it's Shengelia.
Maturin on the run. Sanaze. Bitaze here will get it back to Andrew Nekashwili. McFadden now. Lots of movement. Bitaze on the block, drawing 2. The throw behind his
stepped
back.
out.
And Sanaze steps out of bounds. A couple more substitutions here. We see Giorgi Sensaze step on, as well as Sandra Mamuke-Lashwili for the final 1:20 here in the first quarter. And driving right, he will pull up. A jumper fadeaway is good. The end.
He's good at that. Provides the good penetration, and it was not a highly sophisticated play, but just get it to again and let him do his thing. That mid-range has been good at that throughout the tournament.
Backdoor. Speed is good for the captain.
Unsportsmanlike. He's going to get 2 and possession because the belief here is that there was no legitimate play on the ball. Have a look. Mataran down low and just grabs him, and that is textbook unsportsmanlike. You may not necessarily agree with the rules, but it's been adjudicated according to the rules, and that's 2 shots and possession. So they went to that zone and they had a little bit of success. It started to break down. Went back to their man-to-man, and again, we see Georgia exploiting their size.
The first missed free throw there for Togo Shengelia. Team led by as many as 11 here in the first quarter.
Oh dear.
And he'll miss them both. He gets subbed down, and on the floor now is Jinjar Adze. And Georgia has the ball underneath their own basket. Excuse me, here on the sideline with 14 seconds on the shot clock. Working around the horn a bit. McFadden to Bitaze. The big man puts the ball down and he's knocked. We'll give a thumbs up to the official. He liked the call.
He's a little nervous there. The call came late. Colmenares doesn't like it as well.
What's that? 43. Yeah.
He's wanting a challenge, but
Right here.
I don't see any point in making a challenge at this stage of the game. You only get 1, even if you're correct. So I think you just got to, even if you're positive you're going to get it, you're just better off keeping it in your pocket until it gets more down to the business end of the game, just in case you need it. A possession here, a possession there, right now, you can make up for a few errors. But if it's down the stretch, that's when you might need it the most.
1 for 2 for Bitaze. The end. A little speed to Colmenares. A whistle as Bitaze came in.
Number 6, Bitaze. Plus the personal team second. Venezuela. Free throw.
And so Colmenares here will step through and get a pair of free throws. Foul going to be called against Jincharadze.
2 shots.
Colmenares had some early buckets here in the first quarter. His play around the basket. Off the offensive boards. Now you're looking at him on the free throw line. The 35-year-old will be 1 for 2.
Speaking of him being 35, 10 of their 12 players on the roster are older than 30. They're one of the oldest teams in the competition. 9 of the 12 are over 32.
Shot clock is off. Bitaze with the ball. McFadden pulls it out. Driving at Cefantes, enough space to let it fly. It's flat. And that's the buzzer. So at the end of the first quarter, it is Georgia out in front by 9, 24-19.
It is, and Venezuela weathered a bit of a storm there. Georgia got off to a pretty solid start, led it by as many as 10, and then Venezuela just chipped away. Again, turnovers for both these teams were a problem. The shooting percentage is outstanding for Georgia. They're 8 of 12 overall at 67%. And Venezuela, no slouches either, 54%. So both teams shooting the ball well, and that's going to be one of the conversations. And this man on your screen, he did most of the damage, the 12 points. Shengalia, and he's a high-quality player, plays in Bologna, but has NBA experience as well, and he's shown it here this evening. And both the coaches at this time out, they'd be having a key interest in what they're going to do on the defensive end. When you've got teams shooting at such a high clip, that'll always get the coach's attention.
For Venezuela, they've found an answer from beyond the arc to tighten this one up. Just a 5-point ball game after the first 10 minutes. And what's on the line? Well, if Georgia wins, they're in. They make it to the round of 16 and will keep competing for a World Cup. Additionally, they'll secure a position in a pre-qualifying tournament for the Paris Olympics. For Venezuela, they want to close out their group play with a victory, and they would move on to the classification round. But again, their chances, you know, there's a lot on the line, so they could ultimately position themselves too for an Olympic qualifier, pending on their play here in Okinawa.
Well, that's the goal. They've qualified for the Olympics twice before, last time being in the Rio Olympics in 2016. So they'll be looking to try and find a way to get back there.
Bien through the paint, a miss, and Bitanze covers the rebound. Sensadze bringing the ball up. Posted up as Bitanze calls for it on the block, and an offensive.
The hook is what the officials have called. And just a little too long to get it in there. Ruiz down low. See the hook with the left arm? Clearly right there. Just try to maintain the advantage, but it just took so long in order to get it in there. Bitanze was there a long time and had the advantage. It wasn't going to be a foul. It's probably going to be a 3-second violation.
Ruiz from the free throw line. It's off. Sensadze to...
Well, there it is. It was the foul the time before, and again, I think the body language to me says that Bitanze's upset that he's not seeing the ball down low. And that time he just camped under the rim, and he gets called for the 3 seconds.
Combine that here with McFadden fouling Sofontes. And 2 early fouls here in the second quarter for Georgia. So Guient, open look by Chorio, and 2 Georgians go up for the rebound. Sensadze, no one's gonna step up. He'll let it fly in the eye of Zamora.
Well, he's been good. He's been a spark plug. Sensadze coming off the bench, knocked down the 3-ball. All tournament, that's been his role, and he's executed it beautifully again here tonight.
Loose ball. Venezuela keeps it. Sofontes wants it back after saving off the board. Guient, floater, short, Bitanze. Georgia ball, streaking with Sensadze. Working off the screen here. There's the roll. Bitanze active on the block. And forced to chuck it up was Sensadze with the shot clock violation. Zamora misses early in the shot clock. And a foul as Jinjaradze tried to stop himself from running in to Zamora.
Yeah, here we see down the other end. Georgi Sinsaze. And there's Zaja Pachulia, one of the greats in Georgia basketball. A couple of NBA titles to his name and a long career in the NBA.
Ruiz, strong take. Somehow Soho finds the ball, and that will go in for 2.
Well, that's his first made basket. In fact, that's his first field goal attempt. And that's where you just wonder about the mindset of Venezuela. He's their leading scorer. And it's taken to almost 3 minutes in the second quarter for him to even get his first look.
And here, Mambuke Lashwili, the leading scorer on the other end, goes baseline. His buddy, Jinjaradze, will do the cleanup work. Pushes the lead to 8. Nowhere to go as Butaze steps up. Churio, short. Ruiz will keep it in possession for Venezuela. And Guillen with the ball will have to keep it high. That one is way off its mark.
He shot that when there was 5 seconds left on the clock, and we've seen right throughout the tournament his ability to break defenses down and either get to the rim or pull up on the mid-range. But that time, Guillen just settling for a wild 3. Combination of him and Choyo, they're just taking wild 3s.
And Coach Duro took them off the floor.
Yeah.
So he's seeing what you're seeing, Andrew. The dip down to Butaze. And he'll head to the free throw line.
Well, he's doing the best he can to battle away at Butaze. He's certainly done enough to frustrate the big man. That time picks up a foul. Butaze goes to the line to shoot a couple of freebies. 66% shooter last season with the Orlando Magic, where for NBA standards, it's a small sample size, only played in the 17 games. In those 17, he averaged almost 6 points a game, and he goes 1 of 2.
I know Orlando Magic fans are up early this morning, also dealing with some hurricane preparations coming through the state of Florida. This might be a nice distraction, turn some basketball on. Soho gets stripped through the gut. It stays here.
Andronic Ashwili just got away with a grab. Soho with that penetration. Almost another turnover. With it.
2.7 to shoot. And Georgia here with another stop.
Really deliberate, Georgia. We don't see too much of them in the transition. More half-court options like this, and they're solid ones.
A grown man play there, Butaze right up on Ruiz. So Fontes driving in, looking for a kick. Ruiz off its mark. Just not real calibrated.
No, it's not. And Venezuela, they've been pushed out of what we've seen mostly, and that's the 3-ball. As we mentioned at the start, almost more than half their shots have come from the 3-point line, but in this one, they're 3 of 9, and they've taken 25 field goal attempts. So Georgia's doing a good job of taking away the 3-ball.
Jinjaradze. And now everybody pretty activated for Georgia. Coach Duro doesn't like what he sees, but it's smiles and high fives on the other side. their biggest lead of the contest. Right now, it's by 13.
Jinsha Odze, just the lane opened up. Usually, most coaches these days, when it's a sideline on balls, they're forcing him to do the baseline. That time, the middle opened wide up and no weak side help.
Otra vez la defensa, ataque. Vamos a cero, si no hay nada de cero, seguimos los indirectos, vamos 10. A ver si podemos encontrar un tiro con los pies del piso. Si no podemos defender, papi. Pará, Pedro, anda por.
So a 10-2 run to open up the second quarter here in the favor of Georgia. Andrew, if you're in the huddle for Venezuela, what are you asking of your guys here to make some changes?
Well, I think it's at both ends of the floor. And just the way in which they're executing, want to try and get that ball movement. They play fast and get up and try and get some easier looks in the transition. But most importantly, it's what they're doing on the defensive end. It's been poor by Venezuela. Georgia shooting it at 67%. They're 12 of 18. And if it were not for the 6 turnovers by Georgia, then this might even be even more significant margin.
Kubian, elbow extended, misses.
So you don't need a lot of offense for that. Just throw it out to the guy at the top and Kubian just goes one-on-one. They have looked better when they get some cutting action. Get it through, explore your options off passes first, then get into that downhill action.
And Churio's gonna pick up another foul, his second, as the push cam on Mahmoud Keilashvili.
There is just a profound size advantage at most positions for Georgia.
Penetrating the zone here. The lay-in on the right, the hard way for Andrew Nekashvili. Up by 15. Kubian and company here trying to find an answer. They've only added 2 points since the quarter began. So a dry spell for sure. Churio driving baseline. He goes at Bitaze. Ball knocked out.
There's that nice drop step spin move by Andrew Nekashvili. Gets the friendly roll off the rim.
2.8 to shoot. Churio will let it fly from mid-court practically. Here's our boy Soho. Couple dribbles in, off back rim. And Venezuela picking up another team foul.
Now they just start to settle. And that last one from Soho, who that was only his second field goal attempt, their leading scorer with 14.5 points a game. So they get a fresh 14, and he launches a 3 very early. And that's because he's a shooter and he just hasn't seen enough touches and feels like he's got to let one fly. It's a bad situation to be in if you're Venezuela when you've got individuals trying to do it by themselves.
Ganadze, and on the other end, hitting from downtown. Georgia building on its lead. This is a team, Georgia, that would likely see Australia and Germany on the other side once everything is reconfigured in the second round.
Well, they will see them if they get this win. The Australia and Germany, the two teams that have advanced.
And just knowing what you know now, Andrew, how does this group, Georgia, match up with those two teams?
It's a tough one. Slovenia's the one that I think that is Going to be the interesting one. From what I've seen, I think both Australia and Germany would feel good about their chances against Georgia. Australia played Georgia right on the eve of the tournament, and in the end it was only a 3-point win, but they led it by 20 plus during the contest. Now sometimes that can be a bit misleading because you're using different personnel, but they'd feel pretty good about it, and it's just what happens with Slovenia, I think. But who knows? This Georgia team, if they can solve the problems with their turnovers, then they're going to be a much tougher proposition. This one, they've got 6 so far. Nice on-ball screen rolling action. And Georgia do have talent. Good size, good talent.
Another look here at NBA star to NBA star. Mamukelashvili to Bitaze, and Bitaze will take his position on the free throw line. He hasn't done so well from there here today. 2 for 4, so 50%.
And as far as him getting touches, that's why I think he's just, body language hasn't been all that great, and I think it's just a little frustrating that he's not seeing much of the ball. He's got a huge size advantage, but he's only had the 1 field goal attempt. Perfect 1 of 1 from the field. He takes a spell. Shengalia comes back on, who had a very productive first quarter with 12 points and a perfect 4 of 4 from the field.
So it's about that 3-minute mark where Coach Zouros likes to make some lineup adjustments for Georgia. Kubian surveying. Thinking about driving, he does. And will get the kiss off the glass. Just enough space between him and Mamukelashvili. Nick Oshwili trying to keep the handle there. Last touched by Venezuela. So 9 seconds on the shot clock. Georgia ball. And even coming into this contest for Georgia, at least in this tournament, they had wins over Jordan, Montenegro, Iran, played Australia close.
And Georgia have done their homework on Venezuela. Now we know they've got a couple of players missing, but Venezuela have been averaging 80 points per game. And with 2 minutes to go here, they've only got 23.
Just 4 points here in the second quarter for Venezuela as Soho travels. He's confused. Coach Herbert in the house scouting for Germany.
I think he knows right now it's high probability that Germany will be playing Georgia in a couple of days' time in the second phase of the World Cup tournament.
Shengalia on the baseline. He'll settle for the fadeaway. Jumper misses. Colmenares with the ball, pushing forward. Zamora, we saw in the first contest, hit the buzzer beater at the halftime break to keep things really close with Slovenia.
Zamora's been shooting it lights out. He's averaging 4 made 3-point field goals per game.
Corner look, a miss and a rebound here by Mamukelashvili, and he will work it to get 2.
It's his first 2 of the contest.
.45 seconds to go here in the first half of play. This wraps up Group F action here in Okinawa, Japan. And Shengalia has the ball. His team out in front by 19. It's 42-23. How about Mamukelashvili? A miss from downtown, and Venezuela, shot clock's off.
They want to hold this for the last shot. And we keep going at attacking the rim at around 5 seconds.
Churio making sure his feet are behind that three-point line. The feet up to Shengalia. He gets it up in time, but won't get close. So at the break, 20 minutes in the books, it is Georgia up 42, Venezuela 23.
And they've earned this lead, Georgia. They've been really good on the defensive end. It's been tough for Venezuela to get some good looks. They've guarded the three-point line, which has been Venezuela's go-to throughout much of this tournament. And down the other end, they've been pretty efficient. The 6 turnovers, well, on average, they're doing a little bit better because they average 18 a game. We take a look at the field goal percentages. For Georgia, it's a very healthy 58%. And unfortunately for Venezuela, it's plummeted 27%, 9 of 33 in total, 3 of 14 from the land of plenty. And they are getting they're getting beaten on the boards, 21 to 14. So it's a lot of thought process has to go into the Venezuela halftime locker room of how they're going to remotivate themselves. They've looked flat, lacked energy, willing to take shortcuts at both ends of the floor, and as such, they've dug themselves a significant hole that they've got to try and dig out of.
A 19-point deficit to be exact. A look here at who's doing what. Kubian, 6 points. Shengelia, perfect, or well, he had that one miss, so 4 for 5 from 2-point land, but he's been the ace in the pocket for Georgia here early on, and he's the captain, right? So he's leading the way.
Well, he certainly is, and they've been able to spread it around with their 58%. The microwave coming off the bench, Sensei Sinsaze, he did what he has to do, knocked down a 3, got him going. And then that was Soho, the leading scorer for Venezuela. That was his only made field goal, and he's only had 3 field goal attempts. And they're pounding the boards. Georgia, they lead that category 21 to 14, and you can see it right there, the side advantage.
Yeah, you said the size advantage, about 3 inches is the difference, the average height advantage Georgia has, but we've seen much larger margins there on the floor with the matchups.
Yeah, that's right, and the averages can be a bit, sometimes a bit misleading because you might have some anomalies in there, but so many different ways Georgia have been able to score. They've been able to knock it down from the three-point line, and probably most importantly for Georgia, they've been able to get to the rim, and I think that's the area that Venezuela is going to have to focus on. If you lose by Georgia coming out and getting hot from the three-point line, you shake your hand and say, well done. But right now, it's a bit of both, and it's not looking good for Venezuela.
So halftime, Georgia's up.
Whatever our gender, color, belief, or capability, we are all on the same team.
We have the power to change lives through basketball.
Together, we are stronger. No matter your origin,
basketball
can bring everyone together.
Basketball for good.
Gets rejected. Well, my goodness gracious. Renza Bondo just making a statement block there.
Fournier, nowhere to go. Nice defense, skip, and it's a turnover. El Darwish, that's got to be his 3rd steal. And nice run by his teammates is Zenon.
We'll keep adding on to the turnovers, and Wagner just having his way, muscling through. This is turning into a pickup game.
turns it over, and here comes the Souza with a windmill. Wow, that is just a monumental moment.
Tominaga, one speed, beating Ingles, and the block on the board. Your boy Cooks. Cooks gets it back. No one stepping up.
Xavier Cooks is in a rich vein of form, carrying on from that really good last quarter.
Gets it back, and Wagner's gone. A miscue, and Finland's going the other way. Markkanen with the two-hand jam.
That's where Giffey needs to be careful. The good hustle to try and to stop the errant pass in the over and back.
Go baseline. Let's go pass. Finds Quinones. Quinones all the way. Good ball reversal. Good defensive rotation by the Angolans, but in the end, Andreas Ruiz just dissects the defense down.
Oh my goodness, it's easy.
It's 16 feet and in. He's so tough. He can stop like in an instant. He can get past you. He can create different angles. He may not be the best three-point shooter in the world.
Oh, what a shot from Paco Cruz. He was literally out of bounds and just has such a golden feel for the ball.
Wow, what good basketball there by Latvia. Nice patience. Zagals attacks the defense, draws two, and finds his big man.
Away in the flush. That is unbelievable.
These guys will be legends in their own country, but also in the international basketball world forever.
Welcome back inside Okinawa Arena. Despina Barton alongside Andrew Gaze. We are through the first two quarters. Venezuela trailing by 19. Some offensive work here they've got by Cubion, but it's not been enough.
It's not, and Venezuela had 19 points in the first quarter, and I'm trying to go through the stats because they might have had one of the lowest second quarters in the history of World Cup. Only the 4 points in the second quarter, and so clearly they're having all sorts of issues trying to score, and a lot of it's come from taking shortcuts. A lot of this action you're seeing is coming from any score you see. Is most of it's coming from the first quarter, and Cubion has battled hard, but they're taking shortcuts in the offensive end, and by that, it's the way in which you use the screen. It's the timing of which you're deciding to make a play for yourself. And Georgia, on the other hand, very deliberate with what they're doing. They've got a lot to play for, win, and they advance to the next round. Give them a chance to continue on to have a chance to go to the quarterfinals. Shengelia got the dunk, got a tech foul for that, with a little bit too much celebration. But in that first quarter, he had 12 points, didn't score in the second. All of his points coming in the first for Shengelia, and he has been a target. You see there, and at that time it was Martaran trying to guard him, but the size advantage has got low. And then there's another example of a shortcut on the defensive end this time by Guillant, just reaching in, not trying to keep Shengelia when they're in the zone defense, not trying to keep them in front. And as such, this man here, as I mentioned, of all of those points coming in the first quarter. That one just over center line was the last Hail Mary he threw when the shot clock, the game clock was running out to end the first half. But he's been good, got Georgia off to a flyer, and they'd be feeling pretty good about themselves with a 19-point buffer at halftime.
Yeah, they've got the cushion right now, Andrew, and this is a group, again, making their first ever World Cup appearance. They are here to win as many games and be competitive. They've got something else on their shoulder because they have the pride of the Georgian nation. These guys are pouring everything they can to be here and to show out for their home country. And he, talking to Shengelia here earlier this week, he says, we know that we're the underdogs, but there's something that magical happens when we play together, and we deserve to be here, and they're certainly playing like it.
Oh, my word. They got a lot of pride, and just making it here to the World Cup is a significant effort, but you know the competitive spirit of the players would be such that that's not going to get it done. And when you think of basketball as a sport played by more countries than any other sport in the world, and how global it is, and you come from a nation that's got 3.5+ million people, 3.7 million people, and then you're now on the big stage. It's an amazing achievement, really. And we spoke about Cape Verde as well, with a country of only 570-odd thousand people. It's quite amazing, and such is the reach of basketball. And Toto Shengelia, as we saw in those highlights just previously, doing some good things.
I love, too, he's got the samurai haircut here, and so when the media was asking him about his hairstyle, he said, I knew we were going to be here the whole time.
Right.
You know, it was a symbol for him, and maybe a reminder of what the goal was after all.
Well, it's a fashion statement that you got to plan ahead for, isn't it? It's not like you're going to be growing your hair that long to be able to get that look in a hurry. But no, he's a world-class player, and he showed it in the first half, or in particular the first quarter of this one.
And this is a Georgia squad that lost to Slovenia by 21, but they beat Cape Verde by 25, and Venezuela here losing to Slovenia by 15. And you know what? I think when we saw Venezuela and Slovenia go at it, that was going to be the best shot we were going to see from Venezuela, because they have not kept up to that caliber of play.
Well, it was the first half, and in particular the first quarter of the first half, where they had 9 threes in the first quarter. In one quarter alone, they had 9 threes against Slovenia. And we asked the question, is this sustainable? And the answer, unfortunately, has been no. We appreciate that that's their strategy, that they're going to have an emphasis on the 3-ball. And with their size, and you can understand why, and they've got some high-quality 3-point shooters, but the quality of 3-point shot that they've got in this one here hasn't been great. And they've actually, as we said during the call, they've done a good job of taking a lot of the 3 balls away. They've only had 14 3-point field goal attempts in their total of 33.
The smiling faces making the howl all the way to Okinawa Arena to cheer on their teams. Even the next generation of basketball superstars here. It's been such a wonderful week so far, and we're only midway through, Andrew Gaze. Today, wrapping up officially Group F play. Tomorrow, we will start the classification round, and then round number 2 of the FIBA Men's World Cup will begin on Friday, September 1st. The final 16 at that point.
That's right. The classification rounds continue tomorrow.
Tomorrow. We're going to see the classification first. Right, so there's a lot on the line here in Okinawa, and certainly in Jakarta and Manila. Every game counts. Every point counts. Not only are teams fighting to claw and continue to be in contention for a World Cup, but there are Olympic dreams and aspirations on the line, bids to go to Paris 2024 here, as well as opportunities to qualify for the Olympic qualifying tournaments.
That's right, and right now for Georgia, it's about getting through and thinking and turning their attention to Germany and Australia.
That's who they will face in the round of 16. And if you haven't done so already, go ahead and make sure you scan the QR code on your screen and download the Courtside 1891 app. Scores, schedules, highlights, you name it. They all can be found in the palm of your hand. A fun app that Andrew and I get to scroll through in our off time here in Okinawa.
Spend hours on the app. It's got a lot of information. Check out all the highlights.
So third quarter underway. Georgia with the possession. Shengelia gets stripped. His teammate Bitaje will act up as the clean-up man. And first touch, not intentional there to Bitaje, but pretty positive unless he's jammed a finger here. He looks like he's in a little bit of pain. As he'll hold down the center of that zone. Colmenares, I'll put back on the weak side.
Well, right now, when you're coming off a quarter where you've only scored 4, they'll be relieved. The Colmenares would believe. It looks like there's some confusion here. They showed a zone, but then have gone back to a man-to-man. Colmenares.
And exposing, yeah, the miscommunication here to Shengelia.
I like it. I like the tempo. Try to pick up something early, and if it's not on, then get into your set. Pace of play, important.
Colmenero is getting the better position there on the block for 2.
But I think that's got to be the blueprint for Venezuela. It doesn't mean you have to finish it in that first 6 to 8 seconds, but just test the defense in transition when you're struggling to put points on the board like Venezuela has been.
Shengelia on the other end. The feed's going down to the post.
Chorio outsized. And when you're outsized, you've got to do a better job of preventing your bigger opponent from catching it. You can't just play behind and hope that they're going to miss.
He's rolling here. The ball taken away. In transition we go, McFadden. And now Shengelia here in the half-court set. Backdoor cut. Waiting for his man to go through and up, and Sanadze with the lay-in.
They're just not engaged right now. The urgency that's required on the defensive end, Venezuela. Oh.
Backdoor feed, the bullet to Chorio from the end.
Backdoor. Chorio just pushed his opponent out the way.
And Sanadze continuing to drive in through the baseline.
Just running down screen. You missed it there, but you might see in the back there, Sanadze going flying, and that's because Chorio got away with a shove. Good pass, good feet.
Chorio will step off here. Substitution is made as Jordan Zamora is now on the floor for Venezuela.
Zamora. He's an interesting one, Zamora. He's been averaging 13 points a game, and 12 of those 13 are coming from the three-point line. So he's averaged 4 three-point field goal makes each game. And in this one, he's 0 of 2.
Yen left alone, he pulls the trigger, that goes in.
That's really been his bread and butter right throughout this tournament. Oh.
Venezuela already doubling up what they're able to put up in the second quarter with 8 points. No accolades here, but definitely a different start.
What's pace? The tempo. make or miss. You can see they're trying to run the ball down the floor and get into action as quick as we can. Guillen, there's a switch, and Shengalia a little late with the switch, and Guillen knocks it down.
How about from the wing shot? 2 for 2 for Guillen here. Lead back to 19, a miss and a whistle against Venezuela. Excuse me, against Georgia here, and Bentaze?
Yeah. Looked like he got shoved in the back. And Bentaze, he can't believe it. He won again, signaling to the coach, please review. Coach doesn't want to have a bar of it, doesn't want to burn that review at this stage.
Back to Ofida, Kubian, excuse me, baseline. That is deflected. Bentaze. McFadden to Shengalia. And a foul as he drives.
This. Here we go. Bentaze just protecting the rim. Issue with the score bench here. It's a stopping play. Not sure what the problem is. Just a bit of confusion on who the actual foul was on. That was the hold-up on that occasion.
And Guillen, the chosen one. Andrew Ushwili misses. This Venezuelan squad just looks like they've run out of gas here. And there's so much more basketball to be played.
Well, it is. And this one here, though, and I like the response. It's 10-all in the third, but they've just looked a bit more engaged, and Guillen has been the driver of that. He's been good with the penetration and the pull-up.
Ball back in his hands. Kubian from the top of the logo. And another chance by Colmenares here with the save. Laying, Kubian misses. Short range. And Bentaze is picking up his third.
Can't swing your elbows like that. The little guys were bouncing around, but Katie wants a review.
So I wouldn't challenge it. I can't take the foul away.
Well, great advice here by the lead official.
Let's have a look. It's the elbows that are the problem. Gets him out wide, and there it is. Not much doubt about Ruiz there. Copped one right on the chin.
A little congestion there on the left side of the court. Zamara stepping up from the baseline, and he'll hit the three from downtown for Venezuela.
That's nice, the hammer action on the weak side. The shot in the corner comes from penetration. Good penetration and kick. Good signs here for Venezuela.
That's the lead to 16. A stop here. Let's see if Venezuela can string some stuff together. Shengalia stopping the play. His second personal.
See, that was the action on the weak side. The good baseline drive. And that's been strengthened. See the Georgia coach upset, as he should be. Although he's got a nice, comfortable margin, you never feel safe. We've already seen a couple of great comebacks in this tournament. Japan coming from 18 down against Finland.
And Zamora attempting to cut that one down even further. Galia spinning, losing Ruiz.
That's a big man down low. And it's the quick spin move that caught Ruiz off guard.
Colmenares decides that he will give it a shot, a miss. And wow, this is gonna be Bataze's 4th personal, no.
Ruiz this time.
Ruiz this time, okay.
Second personal, team 3rd.
Look at the spin move. So he thinks he's gonna go to the middle. He overplays slightly, but it's the quick pace and just the drop step, goes up and makes sure of it with the 2 hands.
Georgia here looking for some insurance. Shiramadini back on the floor, running the lane. Shengalia from 3, and he's hot. The captain, Toko, taking things into his own hands. Maturin on the curl, top of the key. That one goes in.
He doesn't need a lot of time to get it off and gain some good action. Bring Maturin off a screen. He curls into the shot. Quick catch and shoot.
In trouble here is Sinsaze. He'll get it back in. Big guy going to work. Sharamadini misses. I just love saying his name, Sharamadini. Game day number 3 for these guys in the last 5 days.
You're going to get to say his name again. Sharamadini, because he, on that rebounding attempt, here we see Shengalia. And you see the hands are down. You're playing catch up, and I think it was Colmenares there with the closeout. You need to come out with a hand up, offer some type of resistance. Just running by it, it's not going to get it done.
You know, Venezuela, you know, for these American teams and the teams from the Americas, they only get to face countries from Euro every 4 years. They've never defeated a European team. And so this is a learning experience for Coach Duro and this group to be able to soak up as much as they can.
Yeah, and that's right, an experience against Europeans. And teams from different parts of the world usually have pretty identifiable styles of play, and sometimes it takes a bit of adjustment to that. And if you don't get a lot of experience, it's hard to do it when it matters most, like at a World Cup.
What's that saying? Iron sharpens iron, and you know, being here and playing against the top in the world will only do that for these nations and countries moving forward. Kubian, lots of time on the shot clock here. And a 1 and done. So we saw Germany in the house scouting. That's who's on the other side of the round of 16. Germany and Australia already advancing here from Okinawa. Georgia, 12 minutes away from stamping their ticket.
It is. It's been much more clunky for them in this 3rd period. They're actually trailing the period 17 to 15. So Venezuela finding a little bit more in this 3rd period, and it's the penetration, the dish.
Couple steps in closer. That one in for Jose Maturin. 27-year-old shooting forward. He's got 7 here tonight. Excuse me, 8 points for Maturin.
Oh.
Open look, Sharamadini. No! He misses.
That was a beautiful pass by Sinsaze.
Deserved assist there. Shot clock will reset them. McFadden checking in. Shengelia taking a breather. The captain there exiting with 21 points.
Soho coming back on for Kubian. Need to find a way to get him going. Run a few plays for him. 1 of 3 from the field.
No whistle here as Mamukelashvili needs some assistance getting up. He's saying, how did I get down there? Soho with the ball. The guy, Andrew, that we want to see get activated here.
Was their leading scorer, 14.5 points, and just been a non-event. Oh,
Coleman there misses the dunk. Chinchara Adze on the other end, too. He's contested. Gets the board. Oh. No! And we got some really sloppy action here. But hurting his wrist in the mix there was Garly Soho defending Chinchara Adze. And Sharon Medini will be the finisher, the hammer.
Wow, almost a comedy of errors. Chinchara Adze missed the dunk and then missed the wide open bunny. And even at this level, if you're not going to dunk it, just go up and use the backboard.
And an effort here defensively by Georgia. Earns the ball back and forces a turnover.
You see the excitement on the Georgia bench. Here's the Soho going up, and that's where he got just enough of the ball. Down the other end, this was the first one. Oh, Colmenares throwing it against the back of the rim instead of straight down. So a couple of missed dunks.
Not so top 10 opportunities for those guys. Final 6 to play here in the third quarter. Mataran laying on the left. 2 more to Venezuela as the third quarter comes to a close.
Just a bad decision by Georgia. Shot it too quickly. They had the possession, and they gave Venezuela enough time when they didn't have to come down and get a couple, and that might spark them into some action. We've seen stranger things happen.
It's a 15-point game. Venezuela, they're in that quarter able to outscore Georgia and trim 4 points off the lead. There's a few things that are within their measure. Let's see if they can put it all together in the fourth. It would take a lot, Andrew, to play spoiler here. Georgia, 10 minutes away from sealing up their trip to the round of 16 here in the World Cup play, and also making sure that they find their way to an Olympic pre-qualifier. Sticking around, though, and being pesky is Venezuela. Guillén, 6 points, both coming from beyond the arc. And Zamora, extra lift. That man's night is not over yet. Shengelia with 21 points.
Now, Georgia's still got a bit of work to do before they can put this one in the book. And first couple of minutes will, I think, go a long way to seeing whether Venezuela can get back in this. In the first 3 or 4 minutes here, Venezuela want to see this lead under 10. There's something about just a double-digit lead that gives you comfort. And it might be more in the mind than anything else, but get it under 10, that's the first objective, and then hope that Georgia gets nervous.
Colmenares. Soho laying on the left, disrupted there by Shara Medini. Sensaze to McFadden on the curl, top of the key, won't go in. Colmenares, one speed, right at the rack. The veteran NBA star slowing things down for Georgia. Sensadze. Handoff gets it back to him. Shara Medini, the hook with the right, misses. 2 stops by Venezuela here. Can you string something offensively together? Colmenares walking up. Left alone. He's hoping nothing there.
He's got to wait. Colmenares signals to the coach, says, "Sub, get me out of here." And perhaps there was a bit of fatigue in that shot. Colmenares wide open. If you're that tired that you don't think you can shoot it, even though you're wide open, then don't shoot it. Bit of dribble, handoff. Get into some other action. There was still time left on the shot clock. And Ruiz comes in for Colmenares.
Shengelia back on the floor too for Georgia. Bentaze down low. Soho on his back. One dribble, couple dribbles, going up strong, and a money shot for Bentaze.
Oh.
Yeah, with 6 to shoot. He slips past the feed to Ruiz, and he can't handle it.
And that's just the presence of having Bentaze there. Down low, Bentaze's got the huge mismatch on Soho, takes advantage of it. And down the other end, Ruiz, knowing that Bentaze's there, tries to rush it. He's thinking shoot the ball before he's even collected and caught it. And another turnover for Venezuela.
Shengelia, the bump from Ruiz, and he'll go back to the free throw line.
Foul, Venezuela number 14, Louis, 3rd personal, teams first. Shengelia going for 2.
7:40 to play here in the 4th. Despina Barton alongside Andrew Gaze. We're in Okinawa, Japan, where Group E and F have been playing the last 6 days. Tonight is the final round of Group F play. Tomorrow, we'll have some new groupings. The bottom 4 will go on to classification. The top 4 will continue on to the group of 16 and still be in contention for a World Cup. Georgia in their first ever appearance on the World Cup stage. 7.5 away from sealing their fate to the group of 16. Luis Maturin, this Venezuela squad struggling to get some open looks. Maturin with the board. The position there and a win out for Venezuela. They'll get another shot here.
Well, on the O boards, and they've been annihilated on the boards. Not just in this one, but throughout the tournament. They rank last, third last. They're 30th of 32 teams on rebounding, so only averaging a little under 29 total rebounds, and they haven't done much better here in this one.
So Dient with the ball will have to shoot it over Andrew Nekashwili got to the hard way.
And when all seemed lost, he's the one that's shown a bit of fire in the belly. Being bouncy, aggressive with the ball, making things happen off the dribble.
Shengelia on the block. Going to work. Sticking with it, no whistle. As he drew 2 blue jerseys. .3.1 on the shot clock. Andrew Nekashwili to inbound. Shengelia will take the shot. It's short. Zamora covering it up. Into Colmenares, that's deflected. Another block for Pitaze. Pitaze now with 2 blocks, 8 rebounds.
And the 2 blocks, I think, undersells his presence out there, because it's not just the actual ones that he blocks, it's the ones that he changes the shot and the mindset when players are attacking the rim. He does a good job of being a deterrent.
He's actually nearing double-double land, 9 points, 8 rebounds. Plays for the Orlando Magic. On the floor now, trying to snag a steal. And a whistle, jump ball. It's going Georgia's way.
The hustle by the big fella. Nice margin here, the 16 points, but the level of desperation by Pitaze.
All 6'11" of him on the floor fighting for that 50-50 ball.
I feel your pain, Coach Duro. Scratching of the head. He was clearly showing his frustration, and I understand why.
Everybody in motion here for Georgia. Pitaze fouled. Gets a rebound, so that's rebound number 9. And he's gonna shoot some free throws.
Right there, that ease at which Andrew Nekashwili was able to just penetrate to the basket. He missed one that 98 times out of 100 he's going to make. Overcooked it. And Pitaze with the insurance policy around the rim for him.
He's in double digits now. 5:40 to play. That puts Georgia up by 18. Keeps the cushion there for Georgia, and we have a timeout on the floor. It's Venezuela gonna talk things over with 5:40 to play here in the 4th quarter.
Néstor, en esta posición, Sifo, o sea, te pone como para hacer el rol casi con Materambo acá abierto. Sacalo. Perdón, David acá. Acá.
Shengelia has been good. In this one, he's provided a good target on the offensive end with the 22 points. And it was Shengelia who got it going. And I tell you, he'd be odds on for the TCL player of the game. Toko Shengelia.
An energy tracker here for Toko.
Yeah, and that's just a reflection of the time he's been on the floor, the work that he's been doing. And He's applied himself. He was a target early on. 12 of his 22 came in the first quarter. And been a steady and influence whenever you just felt like Venezuela were getting a bit more active and a bit more in touch. He's the one they go to.
Colmenares lays it in. 2 for Colmenares. 16 points, a deficit. Seven to shoot. Shengelia will do so. It's off. And Kubian got some Venezuela fans here. But you can feel it's as if all the air is taken out of this arena now as Georgia closes in on making this one final.
And again, when things just dry up, they go to their man again. Shengelia at that time, Colmenares does a good job of contesting the shot. Oh, Colmenares just shirt fronted.
McFadden with 3. He's got to fling it up. We're running here with Venezuela. The trailer slips through Cervantes' hands. Kind of an indication of how this trip has gone for Venezuela here at Okinawa. Shengelia, a miss, and Georgia gets it back. The tip from Betaze. And he'll roll.
He's blazing away from the three-point line now, Georgia, and that's going to spark the transition offense. And they just need to be careful here. There's still enough time. That cuts the lead to 14. Right now on the sidelines, Ilias Zaros is just venting his frustrations at some of the shot selection, I think.
If we start now shooting threes and we give the fast break to shoot threes, they're gonna come back very easy. You have to understand the fucking thing. We have to play basketball. We have to play basketball. Offense. 5, 4, 10, kata. Horns. Screen.
Well, the message there, very, very clear. You got to play basketball, and it's got to be for the next 3:33. His guy's caught sleeping.
It is, and at this level, you never give a sucker an even break, as they say, the old saying goes. And right now, they had this game well and truly under control. Venezuela looked like they were prepared to just go through the motions, but then with some of the poor shot selection, Venezuela have been able to get it some easier baskets in transition. And there's a double-double for the big fella. Goga Taze. And just been the thing that's stuck out to me, I don't know what's going on, but Sandro Mamuke Lushwilly, their leading scorer, and with 15.5 points a game and 7.5 rebounds, you haven't seen much burn in this one. He's only played the 17 minutes. Not sure if there's some issues there or not. It might just be the circumstance of the game. The coach feels the balance needs to be looked at.
Andrew Oshwili misses from 3, running down Cordes Cervantes. Yeah, I wondered if that was like a time management situation for Georgia here.
wouldn't have thought so. He's a young man. He's got young legs.
24 years old. Plays for the San Antonio Spurs, and you're right, he's sitting down on the bench right now. 2:45 to play. And the pass nearly taken away, fed back to Shengelia. He'll fight for it down under the block and get an and one. Feisty big fella. Another look at the pure strength and fight from Shengelia.
Wow. You can see it on your screen, but there is something going on with Sandro Mamu Kailaswili, because coach just went to him and wanted him to come back in the game, and he said, I'm not going on. So there are some tensions brewing in Georgia, which really there shouldn't be. They should be joyous, advancing to the next round.
But even you see some chatter here with Bitadze happening behind the play as he stepped off. 17 points is what Georgia leads by here, as Cefontes will keep the ball alive for Venezuela. Moments ago, it was a 14-point differential, and Coach Zoros there calling a timeout. Colmenares now with 14 points.
Oh.
And a carry and a turnover here.
And this is a call I think the officials can make a whole lot if they wanted to. This carry, you see it a lot, and there's another double-double. This time it's Colmenares who's battled his heart out. 14 points, 11 rebounds. Tried as best he could as a relatively undersized big. It's a tricky one. It's hard sometimes with different cultures, different personalities. You may be misreading it, but it did seem like there was a bit going on the Georgia bench.
I would agree with you, Andrew. Emotions are high, history on the line, advancement, a minute 46 in reach. Meanwhile, you got Venezuela that keeps sticking around. They want to play spoiler here. A positive note to close out group play.
Yeah, and to their credit, after what we saw in that second quarter where they were held to 4 points, it had the potential to get really ugly. So they have shown a bit of character.
As Guillen drives and makes it with the tall kiss off the glass.
And Colmenares are the standouts in this one. They never look like they've stopped trying.
Shengelia with the ball. 13-point lead. Surely Georgia here going to take their time on every possession. Not going to settle for anything less than those easy buckets in close range. McFadden with the ball. And then spotted up Andrew Neck-Ushwili. That will go ahead and be the dagger. Georgia sealing up their fate here in Okinawa. Mathurin didn't even look at the basket here. Colmenares eating up a lot of time here. And before the ball gets back in play, Andrew Neck-Ushwili wants it to be wiped down.
Wants to make sure of it. And
they're going to just swap it out to be safe.
One of the positives here for Georgia, of course, it's the win. As we see Andrew Willie knocked down a 3-ball, and that was a man who looked relieved that finally saw one go in. 0 of 3 before that. But one of the other advantages or positives from this for Georgia is they only had 11 turnovers. They've been averaging 18 to lead the tournament on turnovers per game. Now, clearly the defensive pressure they've seen in this one hasn't been as much as what they're going to see, but there's still some positive signs in the way in which they've been able to take care of the ball.
So the final seconds here will tick away. Georgia, the ball taken away. Colmenera is running. Extra pass to Cervantes. And there's a foul before.
It's on the pass there. Colmenera, but the dish off. There we see the broken hand of Vargas, the veteran of this squad. Been around a long time. Played. He was involved in the last time this team was in the Olympic Games in 2016. He was a part of that as well. So he's unfortunately at the age of 37 got a broken arm.
Maturin. Kubion now. And he will get one more three-pointer for Venezuela. And Georgia dribbles this out. They've won by 11, and they have secured their pathway to the group of 16 here in Okinawa. It is Georgia that will move on to face Australia and Germany. Andrew Gaze, the final score here, 70-59.
Yeah, and you can see that sense of relief. Their captain, Shengalia, he led from the front with the 25 points. Had a really good clip, 9 of 17, 53%. And after shooting really well for the first 3 quarters, it did die down a little bit. You see the joy from Georgia, which is a little bit different from what we saw just a few minutes ago. And like I said, sometimes it can be a little misleading when you see some of the body language. It's not necessarily reflective of what is actually going on. And for Venezuela, they were short-handed and the going just got real tough for them. And they weren't able to cause an upset.
And a historic night for Georgia, as in their very first World Cup appearance, they are advancing on to the second round. They also automatically qualify for the Olympic qualifying tournament, but that's the baseline. They can go up from here as they clap it up for their fans here in the stands. There's a couple hundred here inside Okinawa Arena, a time of celebration. They will get tomorrow off before they begin their game plan, and their record carries over, so they will wrap up with a record of 2-1 here out of Group F play. And next up, Australia, Germany. So how do they get set?
Well, I think that they are a dangerous team to play. I think that they'll go into games against Germany and Australia as the underdog, but clearly got enough talent that on their day, they can cause some problems. And you've got some genuine talent. We've spoken highly about Shengalia and Bitaze. He's a big body down low. And if they can get hot and get going from the three-point line, they're a dangerous proposition. And of course, if they can take care of the ball, which they've had some problems with throughout the tournament, it's going to be nervous times for both Germany and Australia. And in the fourth quarter, they struggled offensively. They only had 11 points. In fact, if you look at the way they've progressed throughout this game, the quarter-by-quarter scores, it's deteriorated. They had a very healthy 24 in the first, 18 in the second, 17 in the third, and only 11 in the fourth. And there were some nervous times there as Venezuela were given an invitation to get back into this one, and they did a good job of making it competitive. Colmenara, as we spoke about, his double-double. He battled his heart out with 16 points and 12 boards. And they just weren't able to find enough scoring. 59 points, that's hard. Hard to get wins when you've only got 59 on the board. And this is a team that throughout the tournament have been averaging 80 points a game. So we give Georgia a lot of credit for the way in which they were able to crank up the D. But they faltered from the three-point line. The three-point line has been their go-to. Tonight, they were 6 of 25 at 24%. And on the tournament, they've been one of the better three-point shooting teams, around a little over 39%. So it was a tough night at the office, but we give them some credit, short-handed, and they played hard and played it out.
And Venezuela will move on to the classification games. They will face Japan and Finland from the other side. So still room to move up their rankings here from Okinawa and potentially their opportunities to go to the Olympics. But right now it's all Georgia as they seal up their bid to the round of 16. The boys get to clap it up after 4 full quarters. A rest day is in store before they move on. So a current look at Group F standings. Next up, Slovenia and Cape Verde. Slovenia with a victory, of course, would seal up the top position. And they are already moving on to the second round of the World Cup play. Lots of basketball in here. After day number 6, Georgia moving on for the first time in history here at the World Cup. For Andrew Gaze, I'm Despina Barton. The final score, it is Georgia 70, Venezuela 59.